Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. Let's spend a cozy weekend together. To be honest with you, I feel pretty drained after the work week and I just feel like I need to deep dive into some cozy hobbies, have some quality time, have some reading time, and just relax a bit. So here's the agenda for this weekend. Number one, I naturally want to get some reading done, so let's do that. I'm gonna go over my TBR and my current reads in a minute. Number two, I really want to go to Michael's today because a while ago I saw that they have kits to knit a little toy and they were so cute, and I didn't buy it last time because I was a little intimidated, but I can't stop thinking about them and I really wanna try it out. We will see how the Michael's trip goes. Maybe I will get more than one thing. No promises. I cannot guarantee anything. Once I go in Michael's, it's go time for me. Also, I desperately need to get my nails done. We don't have to talk about it. They're awful and I just need to fix this, especially because tomorrow I'm going to a friend's house and I can't be walking around like this anymore. It's no. That's the plan for this weekend, for today and tomorrow. So let's talk about the books that I want to read this weekend. I'm actually currently in the middle of two. The first book I'm in the middle of is In the Blink of an Eye by Walter Murch. This is a non-fiction on film editing. I have been enjoying it so far. I am currently on page 76. It's tiny. I only have about 30-40 pages left. And it is a pretty fast read. I would say this is 2/3 theory of film editing, also some history on film editing and how the craft was developed, the approach to editing, and then 1/3 of it is actual practical advice. And I'm finding it pretty useful so far. As I started this channel, I kind of wanted to refresh my memory and my knowledge of editing and of other film production skills, so I thought it would be a good read. I am currently on page 76 and this is a very tiny book. I only have about 30-40 pages left, so I'm pretty sure I can finish this today, and I'm excited because the last part of it is actually talking in depth about non-linear editing, which is all of the modern softwares of editing, whether it's CapCut and Premiere and DaVinci, Final Cut Pro. All of them are non-linear forms of video editing, so I'm interested to see what he has to say in this section and if there will be some more practical advice that I could take into my videos. Then the second book I'm in the middle of, and that is actually fiction, is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. This is a fantasy. It's very hard to describe. I went into this knowing absolutely nothing. It is a adult fantasy standalone. It is pretty weird, but I have been so immersed into the story. So far, I am only 41 pages into this book, almost halfway through, and it's not a very long book. I think it's only about 200 pages. We are following our main character, Piranesi, and he exists in this massive house that has hundreds of different hallways with hundreds of different statues, and he explores this place, but at the same time, as the book progresses, we start to unravel and kind of uncover where we actually are and what is going on in the story. It is so immersive. I also really love the sense of humor of our main character. It did make me chuckle a few times. It's a pretty fun read so far. I really want to know where the story is going. I have so many questions and none of them have been answered so far. As I said, I'm halfway through now. I am really enjoying it so far. I want to know so badly how the story is going to resolve. So I'm looking forward to finishing this book this weekend. I think I'm going to start by finishing In the Blink of an Eye, just because I have so little of it left and I want to sit down and read and have a cozy time. Also, at the end of this video, I want to include some footage of my recent trip to California. I had such a good time there. Unfortunately, I don't have any talking clips from there just because I was focusing on enjoying my time traveling. But I did see some really beautiful places and I really wanted to show some of the B-roll that I got there, so you will see that at the end of the video. Okay, it's time. Let's get a warm drink, let's set up a cozy reading station here, and then let's get some reading done. Hi friends, it is now a few hours later and I do have a few updates for you. First of all, I finally painted my nails. They look nice now and I'm not embarrassed of my hands anymore. That is good. Earlier today I was reading and I finished in the blink of an eye. I don't read nonfiction, so I'm not really going to give this book a rating. I would say this is mostly a read for those who are interested in film theory and history of film editing, more so than the actual practical advice for editing, in my opinion, because while there were some good points and I definitely took something out of it that I want to implement in my videos, in my editing, that was very useful. And I did find the read pretty interesting because personally I really love reading about film theory and film history, so that is something that I would read about regardless if I was doing YouTube or not. So for me it was an interesting read, and I like to read about all technology that was used in film editing. However, I would say if you're not very interested in film history, this might not be particularly interesting read for you, because it does get quite into detail about how different movies have been edited and a lot of technology that was used that is not longer used. And then the last part of it I was very excited about because it is called non-linear editing. What's it called? Hold on. It is called non-linear digital editing. I thought this was gonna give a little bit more advice for people who edit in non-linear software, but actually it was just more arguments pro and against non-linear editing compared to linear editing. It was interesting to read about because I personally like film theory and film history. However, I don't think it will be interesting for anyone, and it's not so much advice on editing in those tools. And it is starting to get a little bit irrelevant because most of the things right now are edited in non-linear softwares, and film, as if actual 35mm or whatever that might be film, is not edited manually by hand, if that makes sense. When was it published? Oh, so this book was originally published in 1995, and then I believe the part about the non-linear editing was added a few years later, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, I just feel like a lot of the arguments unfortunately are a little bit out of date now that everything is digitalized. I'm happy that I read this. It's actually a reread for me. I read it when I was back in film school, and it was good to kind of refresh my memory and also get some of the editing principles out of it. And then last but not least, I did actually go to Michael's. I got myself a crochet kit. It's so cute. It's Casey the cow. How cute is she? I mean, I really hope she actually turns out this cute once I do it. I don't have a lot of faith in my skills, to be honest with you, because I think I've only tried crocheting a couple times when I was very young, so it's been a while. I don't know if I will be very good at it, but I'm gonna try my best and I'm gonna try to do Casey some justice. But I'm so excited. I really wanted to get a new hobby and try something new. Also, I'm recalling how in the intro I thought that it's called knitting. It's not, it's crocheting, and literally that completely left my brain for some reason. I don't know how I forgot that it's called crocheting, but I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure how much I will be able to get done today. And this says on the back here, it says that it takes about 8 hours. But I assume that's for someone who knows what they're doing, and I'm not one of those. So it might take me much longer. I might not finish it in this vlog or even this week. I don't know. We will see. Also, I am excited to read a bit more of Piranesi before I go to bed today. So far, I haven't read a lot of it today, but I'm excited to continue because the story is starting to get so good. Now that I'm halfway through the book, I think we're finally getting a hint of something, what is going on, what is this whole situation, where we are, and I'm so interested to see where this plot is going to go. I have a feeling it is going to be a really highly rated book for me, and I think it's going to be such an interesting read. I'm very excited, so I will read a bit more before bed. I will let you guys know tomorrow how that goes, and I will see you tomorrow. Welcome back. It is now a few days later, and I just wanted to give you guys some updates on my reading, on my crafting, and everything that I have been up to in this past couple of days. I actually finished Piranesi by Susanna Clarke, and oh my god, was it amazing. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was absolutely brilliant. I actually stayed up late 2 nights in order to finish this book. I just couldn't put it down. It was so good. So it is a fantasy standalone, and I would argue that it is a fantasy slash mystery. The beginning of this book is pretty confusing. So we're following our main character, Piranesi, who is in this house that is enormous. It has many holes, and in those holes there are some statues, and he's kind of just living there and exploring this house, and we are getting familiar with the environment. But as the story progresses, we start to uncover the secrets and trying to kind of puzzle together the pieces of what this house is and where we are and what happened, and trying to make sense of this environment. And it was absolutely brilliant. To be honest, I don't want to say too much about the plot because I went into this book not knowing anything about the story, and I would argue this is the best way to go about it. It is best to be surprised by this plot because truly it is so unique. I thought the writing was so good. I really loved how there is quite a bit of humor in the main character. At the beginning, you feel it as funny moments that keep you engaged in the story and in the overall attitude of the main character. But as the story progresses, all those bits of humor become pretty tragic. Once you start to uncover the story, you kind of have that realization of like, oh my god, this is not funny at all. It is actually really sad, and it is just brilliantly written. It is so unique. I felt like I haven't encountered a story like this in a book before, and it's just been so fun to read. So I highly recommend it. If you do happen to read this book, please don't let the first part of it scare you off. It is meant to be confusing. You're not meant to understand fully what is happening, but everything does fall into place pretty quickly. And I would say the writing is it is easy to read. It's not a complicated writing where you have to struggle through very complex sentences, and it was absolutely a brilliant read. It wasn't too long. I think the whole book is about 250 pages, so it's not too bad. Immediately when I finished this book, I went on Amazon and I got her other book on Kindle. It's called Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. It is, I believe, also is a fantasy standalone, and I'm really looking forward to reading this one. It's much longer than Piranesi is, and as far as I understand, it is very different to Piranesi. But regardless, I had such a good time reading this book, and I really want to read more by this author. I feel like she is just so incredibly talented. This story was so imaginative. It was great. It was a fantastic read, so I highly recommend it. Also, I wanted to give you some updates on my crafting. I did start my crocheting project. It is not going too hot. Let me show you. So this is as far as I got to. This is going to be our cow's nose, and I'm supposed to be changing to a different color soon. But yeah, this is... Listen, when they said on the packaging that this was for intermediate, not beginners, they didn't lie. Actually, it is not for beginners, and you do need to know how to do basic stitches, which I didn't know any of it, so I kind of struggled through it quite a bit. I had to redo every single row of this about 10 times. Somehow I'm always one stitch off. I don't know how this happens. But yeah, I mean, this is as far as I got to. I am really enjoying this so far. It is kind of addicting, if I'm being honest with you, and I am looking forward to doing more crocheting this week. It would be really fun, and I'm really glad that I picked up this hobby. Now, the problem is that I started this and then I decided to search on YouTube how to crochet this specific cow, and I did find a tutorial from Michael's stores, but now my entire YouTube page is just crocheting project, and I just want to do all of them. Everything looks so good. Oh my god, I want to crochet, like, you know, the hand crochet blanket. I want to do that. I want to do some coasters. I want to do some scarves. All of it looks so fun. Despite the fact that I had to redo this a bajillion times, it is actually pretty therapeutic. I really enjoyed my time crocheting a lot, and I really want to continue. Obviously, I'm gonna be finishing this project first. I have discovered an entire new world that I didn't know existed, and now I am a little bit addicted to it. So my reading recap for this weekend was Piranesi, which was a fantastic read. Honestly, it blew my mind. It was so good. And then also, oh, hello, are you okay? And also I read In the Blink of an Eye, which I would say it's a really good read, but for a specific audience. It has very good discussion on theory of film editing and why film editing works, why cutting from one image to another gets processed in our brain and makes sense for our brain. And it did give me some perspective on how I can improve my video editing, so that was very appreciated. But I would say it might not be a book for everyone, but it was a good read. As I mentioned before, I really wanted to finish this video by showing you some footage that I filmed in my recent trip to California. It was such a good time. I traveled a lot with my family, which was lovely. It was so sunny, it was so nice, and we saw so many beautiful places. So I just wanted to share some pretty clips that I filmed there. And also, one of the days when we were in San Diego, we went to Barnes & Noble. It's like I don't remember the name of it. I will put it somewhere. It's a Barnes & Noble that used to be a cinema and now got converted into a bookstore. And it was so cool. It looks so nice inside, like an outside and inside. And we spent quite a bit of time there just browsing. It was really fun. And I saw that they have a blind date with a book there, and I've never tried that before, so I was really curious to see if I could pick up a book, and let me show you. So the book that I picked up was this Blind Date with a Book. It is a sci-fi, and here it says it's accidental spaceship theft, mystery of missing crew, hologram of former captain, and sapphic. I didn't know any book that could fit this description, so I was very intrigued and I decided to pick it up. Of course, I already opened it because I just have no patience and I couldn't wait. Here is the book that was inside. Do you have any guesses what could be inside? Crickets? Crickets. This was the book. We have The Stars Too Fondly by Emily Hamilton. This is a debut novel and it's kind of like a rom-com sci-fi. I think I've never read any sci-fi that is romance heavy, so I'm very intrigued to see how I like this one. And it says here in the back, a suspenseful, charming, and irresistibly joyous tale of fierce friendship, improbable love, and wonder as vast as the universe itself. It sounds really cute. It sounds really fun. I really hope I get to read this one in the upcoming weeks, and I will let you know how that goes. If you have read it, please let me know what your thoughts are on this book. That is going to be all for today's video. Please enjoy some footage from my trip, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.